Hey folks, Lucas Ballahood here with Coldwell Banker RMR Real Estate and the Ballahood Group. Welcome back to this week's edition of Finance Fridays. I'm joined again by the lovely Alexandra Job with RBC. Alex, how are you this week?
I'm good. We're wrapping up summer here.
Yeah, school's coming back, Labor Day weekend here coming out, and it's summer has just flown by. I don't know what
It really
happened.
has.
I had a nap at one afternoon and suddenly the leaves changed and it's just,
It does
school's
start to
almost
feel
in
like
session.
fall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts, right? Well, you got one going to school this year for the first time.
Yes. So he's just starting JK and then the other two are there. So all three, ship them off.
Oh, that'll be into some nice free time.
Yeah.
Well, that's obviously a positive for parents, and certainly the way things have gone the last couple of years, it's a welcome sight to see kids hop on the bus and head back to school and do all that safely, of course. So that's a positive. But one thing that we've been dealing with, and I'm sure you've had a lot of discussions with your clients, is sort of what's happening in September. Something we've preached a little bit lately has been the next Bank of Canada announcement. For
Mhm.
whatever reason, I had it stuck in my head that it was September 2nd. It's
I know
actually it's the 7th.
right. We needed to
So
correct that.
yeah, so it's not this week, it's next week. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that announcement. Earlier in the summer, following the July 13th announcement where the Bank of Canada raised rates a whole basis point, that we were thinking it might be a little bit of a softer landing come September, maybe a quarter point, but it's probably going to be something more than
Maybe a little
that from what
more.
we're hearing, right? Maybe up to a half or three quarters of a basis point.
Right. So, of course, that brings us to the conversation of variable. And today I wanted to share something with yourself and our viewers here about the variable rate and something that our clients on a variable might not know. And that is something called our trigger interest rate. So you may have heard in your world a little bit about it, but it's something that we haven't really had to talk to our clients much about. It is a part of a contract when you are on a variable rate mortgage. It's just something that hasn't impacted anyone because we hadn't seen this much of an increase in our variable pricing. So what your trigger interest rate is within each individual contract, and it changes throughout the course of your mortgage, where you are at within it, because on an amortization schedule, as you know, at the beginning of your mortgage, you have a larger portion of the money is going towards your interest and the small amount of principal. And as you pay your mortgage down, that ratio changes.
Mhm.
So the trigger interest rate is a point within the mortgage schedule that if prime continues to increase, there's no longer a principal portion of the payment. So
It's all
your
interest
payment
at that
is
point.
right, is all interest, which is obviously not good for anyone. But that trigger point will then cause an increase to your payment because we need to make sure that we're collecting enough interest to cover that amount.
Mhm.
So we do have some clients that are sort of in that range right now. RBC connects with them directly and sends them a payment change notice because the payment, of course, has to increase. So it's not self managed by the client if you're at that height, or lack of better words, but you can manage it yourself so you don't get to that point. And I think that's really important for our clients on a variable to understand that you don't have to wait to hit your trigger interest rate, manage that effectively like beforehand. And as rates go up, you should be adjusting your payment. So we've talked about our prepayments before, prepayment options where you can increase your payment by a minimum of $100 up to double the amount. Otherwise, these amortizations are just getting way larger. Your mortgage isn't getting paid down. You'll come up for renewal. It's going to cost you more in the end, right? So you want to take charge of that yourself. And another great option is looking at a fixed option. If you don't want to follow the course of prime fluctuating, maybe consider going into a fixed term.
Now, if someone's maybe they're in a variable right now, they're maybe halfway through their 5-year term,
Yeah,
and maybe that's a point where they want to lock into a fixed rate because rates are going to be high for the next 12, 18 months. They're going
yeah.
to be higher than maybe where they were, and they
Mhm.
lock in for a period of time. So at least it's that peace of mind that they're still paying off their principal on their mortgage, and they
Yeah,
can still manage their payment in the meantime. But
yeah,
there are, certainly those folks that like to keep on those things and manage it themselves, and that just means you've got to stay on top of where the
yeah. And
interest
it's
rates are going
exactly
and how that split is between the principal and mortgage or interest portions of that payment, right?
Yeah, you just have to be a little bit more conscious of how it all works. And in a raising interest rate environment, it's important to stay on top of it. So I always suggest that if you're going to go on a variable, because we may see more increases here, is set your payment higher. So maybe set it as if it was a fixed, and then you've got that wiggle room and you're not going to hit that trigger point where it's all interest. And you already have extra amount going to the principal, because when you do those things, the extra amount, it does go directly to the principal. It's not extra interest charge. It pays your mortgage down. So that's just one of those things to be aware of.
Yeah, it's really important and trying to get that principal down. When it is come for renewal, your mortgage
You're
is
where
based
you're
off that principal
right.
rate or that principal amount. So
Yeah,
paying that down is definitely has to be a priority. And that's where your equity comes from as well. If you're trying
exactly.
to, take out some line of credit to do anything, whether it's invest or renovate or whatever it might be for,
Yeah.
it's related to that principal. So paying that down is really important and keeping on top
Mhm.
of that, not letting that get out of hand, where suddenly you owe the bank money, right? Like that, if someone's not on top of it and they're not in touch with their advisor, or they're just, managing themselves and they forget to check up on these things, suddenly the bank could come calling for a cash payment to say, hey, you owe us so much money in interest that needs to be paid back.
Yeah, it's adjusted. It would automatically be, the notice is sent out and it would be adjusted. I mean, like I said, we haven't had to really deal with this because we haven't been in this environment. But if you see people that set their variable rate mortgage, in the spring, and now we're a couple increases in there, and they took a 30-year amortization and they haven't made any adjustments, it might just be at that point where it's basically all interest, close to.
And on a variable right now, you guys are what's the 5-year variable rate with RBC?
Let me tell you here.
Last I checked, I thought it was around 4.5. I could be wrong, but
Yep.
I'll leave that to you.
Look at you. You know my rate sheet. Yeah, you're going to be, depending on your amortization there, and sometimes we do have additional rate sales that clients can be eligible for, but you're around 4.4 to 4.5, and prime is currently 4.7. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the 5% range, come September, but we'll circle back to that once there's the announcement made.
Yeah, we'll tackle that. I guess once the announcement comes next week, it'll be perfect timing for us to talk about how the rates have responded and as a result. So it'll be interesting. So what's going on the rest of the summer here? You've got only a couple days, long weekend coming. What's happening?
We've got your ice cream party. I'm so excited for that.
That is this afternoon, actually. I've been feverishly running around getting prepped up for that. That's today, as we record Wednesday, August 31st. We're hosting a little ice cream party in Conlin Woods Park in North Oshawa, just for members of the community, things like that. So if anybody's interested in coming out, we'll have some door prizes available and things like that. So should be a great time.
Some RBC swag will be flying around Frisbee form.
Oh yeah, no doubt, right? Oh, I'm looking forward to having you there. It's going to be going to need the help. It'd be a fun time. So we're looking forward to it. And if anybody is in the area, they should swing by. So without further ado, that's really all I've got for us today, other than just getting ready for the party this afternoon. So it's been a fun time.
Looking forward to it.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for following along today. If you have any questions for Alex or myself, you'll see our contact information at the end of this video here. Feel free to follow along or subscribe on any of our social channels that you'll find us on there. And you have yourselves a great day in the meantime.
Awesome.
Alex,
Thanks, Luke.
see ya. Bye for
See you
now.
later.